Hello, welcome to another video by Indicator Vault. My name is Ronald, and in today's video, we're going to go over just price action here with the Australian dollar US dollar chart. And we're going to start on the 4 hour. You can see I've got the Harmonic Pattern Pro, order block Gen, and down here, the Divergence Solution Panel. And we're going to analyze how we could have gotten in on a trade here, a buy, and how these, number of different indicators were pointing us into getting in basically right at the low here. We're going to go down even to the 15-minute and point out all the confluences and confirmations that these indicators were telling us that price is going to go up. Now, we see a bullish cipher formed here, and yes, it already does take out the high. Many times with the harmonic patterns, you may see some consolidation first before it starts to run up, but here we don't see that happen for very long before the strong impulsive move up. However, we can still reasonably expect some bullishness to take place. For one, we still have this high that has not been taken out yet. So we still have a target that when we see price retrace here, we still have a target for this high and this high, for price to run to. Obviously, we see it does. But if we look here at the order block Gen, let me hide the pattern indicator for now. Look at the bullish order blocks that are respected. Respected here, new higher high. Doesn't quite retrace into it, but creates a new higher high. And then all the bearish order blocks are not being respected. This one pushes price lower, but right here we see it switch, runs right through it. Same thing here again, runs right through it. Same thing here again, runs right through it. So this is telling us order flow is bullish, right? All the bullish order blocks are being respected and all the bearish ones are not. And then of course, even here with the latest one, we get that confirmation for more bullishness as it takes out this one and even this one. Of course, so far we see that continue. But let's go. I'm not going to worry too much about the Divergence Solution Panel here. I really just want to highlight the crosses and the histogram movement in the lower time frame. So let's go down to the 1 hour. Actually, before I do that, I want to point out as I bring this back up. Remember, many times we will see order blocks form either with this last candle, which is this is what it is. We see the order block mark out this very last candle that validated the cipher pattern. But many times, we want to refine even more. If this candle is too large, we can refine even more into smaller zones. And so ignoring this wick just because is not, there's not much volume in the wicks, not really going to mark that out, and just marking out this zone here. The open of this candle to this bottom of the wick is a good demand zone to find, right? These are the lowest candles and you can group them together. And I'm only doing that if this candle was maybe just about the size of this candle, I would include all of that as the zone and not pay much attention to this. But just since this is kind of a larger zone, I want to look for more refined price levels to actually mark out my order block with. Obviously, we see price, never closes into it at all, just wicks a couple times and moves up. But now let's move into the 1 hour and look at what we have. This is where I want to bring in the Divergence Solution Panel and point out the crosses. Now I've hidden the divergence part of this. I know that's kind of, against what it is. You know, it's great at marking all the different types of divergences, and it have it here. But I do want to point out it would have it here. I just don't want to clutter up um, what I wanted to show you here with this. But obviously, we can see price here to here makes a lower low, whereas from here to here makes a higher low. So divergence taking place as it's going into a refined 4-hour order block with the 4-hour bullish cipher in play. But the MAs here are crossing. Right here they are. But we're not really looking at that as the buy yet, because we don't typically want to trust the first touch into a zone, especially since after seeing all this price action, whereas when the cross finally comes here, this is more so telling us to expect some consolidation and then another push lower. Since we have, I mean, of course, the 1 hour marks out the order block here too, which, never dips below that. But we don't typically want to trust the first touch of a valid order block or valid zone. And so even though we do see the cross here, we're still sitting on our hands waiting for more confirmation. We believe it can maybe not go this low into it, but it's at least going to make another low dipping into it. So it's just some consolidation. And then finally what? Goes into our 4-hour zone, impulsive move up. And inside of our 4-hour order block, we now have a 1-hour order block forming. Move up, literally a perfect touch to the top of that zone. I mean, to the pip, maybe just one pip below it, and then just flies up. And then here, we now have the crosses. These are the crosses we can trust because the MX crossing up coincides with this order block and coincides with the second touch deeper into the 4-hour order block. But to refine a little bit more, let's go into the 15-minute chart and see what we find. So here we are with the 15-minute, and we see this very similar pattern, just like we saw on the 4-hour, and all of these confirmations lining up. We have bullish shark pattern, and look how the shark pattern forms right inside, I mean, perfectly inside of our 4-hour zone. Remember, this this middle yellow line and this bottom one is marking out our 4-hour order block. This line here marking out the high of our 1-hour order block. So just a number of confirmations lining up for this bullish move. If I bring up the divergence solution indicator again some more, we've got a cross here right as this order block was validated, just like we saw on the 1-hour, right? The order block formed, and then right as the crossing was happening right as the order block was happening. So these are other confirmations and confluences you can look for to validate your zones, even besides just divergence. Obviously, this will mark out divergence. Like I said, I've got it hidden because I kind of want to just to make the MAs a little bit more clearer. But that's another confirmation that this indicator can bring up. And what does price do? Order block is formed with this candle. Next candle breaks above it, just barely, but it does. Now the wick, the first part of this candle, this was the wick going down, right? So we're not actually looking into trading this zone yet until we see a break above the order block, right? So it wicks below it and then finally closes above it. So now, with all these confirmations, you know, 4 hour bullish harmonic pattern, 4 hour order block, which we've refined to here, the 1 hour order block, which we'll get to in a second, the 15-minute harmonic pattern forming inside of the 4 hour order block. And now even 15-minute right here, you can even just enter on the top of this order block and just ride the momentum up. Let's see what the fib looks like with this. Looks like it should be pretty good. And look at that. Let's say you missed this entry. You weren't looking at it with this candle close and the wick back into it, but you saw this impulsive move up. And so now this is getting your attention. Now we're thinking, okay, now the real move is starting to unfold. Well, look at the confluence of the top of the 1 hour order block with the 61.8 fib level. Never, of these three candles that are right by it, they touch it but never close below it. And so another perfect re-entry there. Let's say you got in here and you saw this move up. You can move your stop loss up to break even. Maybe take some partials after it took out this high. Or may not have even taken that out. Yeah, it did. So take some partials after it took this high. Move your original entry up to break even. And then it offers another entry here. And could have gotten in on another even stronger move up there. And we see it just continues to go. So let's just say stop a few pips below the low with our entry right at that order block. To the first high, over a 3 to 1 R&R trade. But the 4 hour, this high was very obvious that if price is going to remain bullish, it's going to take out this other high that we saw on the 4 hour. So easily holding for almost a 9, about an 8.8 R&R trade. That is an incredible trade and very easy to take it with some confidence with all these confirmations lining up. So I hope this video was helpful, and until next time, best of luck trading.